In this Helldivers 2 video, I'm going to be breaking down my thoughts on how to build craft the best builds for the Hive World. I've been diving on the Hive World all day between being live and going on my own, and my experiences have been wildly different depending on how things go. If the group I'm in takes their time and builds the right loadout, it's quite smooth, but if they don't, it's quite crazy. And if we don't have the right approach, meaning we're going to face Hive Lords or we're not, it's quite crazy as well, because the Hive Lords require a specific type of loadout, which we're going to go over, and the regular units are just playing the mission normally, requires a completely different kind of loadout to be able to have success in it. So how this is going to work is we're going to break down each piece of equipment, meaning the primaries, secondaries, equipment, stratagems, all the things that we need to bring in so that we can know what I think are the best options for each of those categories. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about. Let's do it. For your primary weapons, explosive, energy, and crowd control tools are still going to be the best options. Now, I feel like explosive and energy weapons have received a huge leg up in this particular encounter with the bugs, because the Eruptor, Crossbow, Scorcher, and Purifier, just to name those four, are extremely good at dealing with the rupture bugs when they're underground. You can actually deal some damage to them as they're underground. It deals more damage to them in general because it overpins their plating, especially the warrior variants, because the warriors have a little face plate that is medium penetration. So overall, these weapons are going to be very good against any bug variant, but more specifically the rupture bugs. Now, the Eruptor and Purifier both have much larger radiuses at which they can clear, so if you're using things like the hover packer or you have good distance, you can actually clear a lot of enemies at once, and like breaches and things like that. So those have a leg up in terms of clearing. However, the Crossbow and Scorcher are no slouches. They both deal heavy damage, especially direct target damage. So they're both going to be very strong as well, especially with their rate of fire and things like that, especially on the Scorcher sides. As for crowd control options, the Cookout and the Blitzer are still going to be the best options of the bug front because of the fact that they're just so freaking good at controlling the battlefield. Blitzer has unlimited ammo, medium penetration, so it's going to be great against whatever units are on the battlefield. Great against the Rupture bugs, great against the Hive Guards, going to be able to deal some decent damage, and it's going to keep them stun locked a little bit, which is quite nice. The Cookout has a very high stagger, sets enemies on fire, and is very, very good for overall crowd control. So depending on how you want to go, you can go with the explosive route to deal more general damage and clear better, or you can go with the crowd control option, but either one is going to work well, just whatever you feel comfortable with and need more help with. One last weapon that's going to be great on the Hive World is going to be the Torture. The Torture is extremely strong because it has heavy penetration and will overpin charger plating and will deal heavy damage to Bile Titans as well. So this is going to be very powerful against those units. It's also great against the regular units, so it can set the ground on fire and delete units very quickly as well. So Torture is going to be incredibly good on the Hive World as well. So for the secondary item, you need to decide between utility or high penetration, because it really depends on how you build out the rest of your loadout. But the utility items are always going to be good, and these are things that I personally bring in non-stop between the ultimatum and the grenade pistol. Grenade pistol is going to be great for general objective clear, plug up bug holes, whatever. It's going to be great for getting some little extra damage on some objectives like towers and things like that, and it's also going to be fairly good against the units, so it's not a bad pick. However, I do feel like the ultimatum is by far the best option to bring in the secondary category, primarily because of the fact that it has so much utility between being able to kill the chargers and the Bile Titans, especially the chargers. There's a crap ton of chargers on the battlefield. And just in general, again, it's just nice for general clear if you want to use it there. Can destroy the doors inside the caves, can destroy Bile Titan spawners inside the caves. So in general, the utility is unreal with the ultimatums. Now, if you have this covered with some other parts of your build, you can go with the Talon, the Senator, or the Crisper. Crisper is just good for general ad clear because it's a fire damage weapon, has heavy penetration, going to do some really good damage for general ad clearing, so it's quite nice. The Senator is just a hard-hitting revolver, so it's going to have heavy penetration as well. You're going to be able to be very good against most of the general units in terms of the medium-level units and whatnot, so it's going to be quite good there. And Talon is a medium, hard-hitting secondary as well that can have unlimited ammo if you pace your shots. So overall, you got to decide between utility or high penetration depending on how you set up your loadout. For your equipment item, you're either going to go with anti-tank or crowd control. Gas grenade and thermite are going to be the best for either one of these categories. So if you want to go with more of a crowd control option, gas grenade is going to be it. Deals damage over time, will confuse the hell out of enemies, great for breaches. It's a great grenade, especially with all these various things we have going on the bug front now. But if you want to go with more anti-tank, thermites are going to be very good. Between all the various charger units we have, from the rupture chargers going underground, you can stick them in the butt as they're going underground and they'll die either underground or shortly after they come up. And just in general, again, you can clear enemies pretty easily with the thermite. So you gotta decide which way you want to go with these grenade options. Now, armor passive is where it gets pretty interesting in my opinion, because we have some unique options here. In my opinion, the best overall armor passive right now for this particular version of the bugs is going to be extra padding. Having that extra armor plating, especially from the medium variant, is going to be enormous, because having heavy armor is very good for this faction, because you're going to be taking so much random explosion damage, so many random hits from all the various bugs hitting you at once. So having the extra damage mitigation from heavy armor is great, but being slow with heavy armor is a bit cumbersome for some people. So if you run extra padding medium, you're going to be golden, because you're going to be taking heavy level hits, and you're still going to be able to move around as if you are wearing medium armor. So extra padding medium specifically is a very good combination right now for the Hive World bugs. Now, you can also run medkit, siege ready, and fortified. Medkit is going to give you extra stims and increase your heal over time effect. Great with the experimental fusion booster. Also just great because you get more stims and you have more resources to deal with. Siege Ready is going to be great because you get more ammo in terms of general backup ammo for your weapons. You reload faster. It's very, very good armor passive for your primary weapons and the majority of your support weapons. And then Fortified is actually pretty good because there's a lot of explosions happening on the bug front, meaning that you get 50% reduced explosion damage, which is going to be quite nice when you have those gloom bugs shooting little mortar missiles at you and whatnot, and it's going to help you with various little explosions that are happening on the bug front. So Fortified is actually a pretty good pick here as well. All right, so your stratagem slots is where you need to start making some unique decisions, because you got to decide up front as a team if you're going to go for Hive Lords or you're going to face the rest of the map. You really can't do both, because if you're going for a Hive Lord specifically, you need to stack AT. You can't just go in there and deal with a Hive Lord. They have 150,000 HP or higher. I don't know the exact number, but it's really freaking high. So it's going to require a lot of anti-tank to be able to deal with them. You're going to need to stack things like Recoilless Rifle, Quasar, EATs, Commandos, Portable Hell Bombs, Emancipator exosuits, whatever you can think of as AT, you're going to need to bring it in against these particular units, and they move fast, and it's going to require a lot of team coordination. You'll also need to bring in some stratagems like strafing runs, 500 kgs, Gatling barrages, orbital precision strikes, or anything else that can deal damage to the Hive Lords as well. So depending on what you want to do, if you want to go Hive Lord hunting, you need to stack AT and build around that and try to deal as much damage to the Hive Lords to kill them, and then you can do the rest of the mission in whatever way you see fit. But personally, if you want to go against the rest of the map and just ignore the Hive Lords, this is how I would build out your loadout. So for your stratagem one, I think that this should be exclusively for backpacks. I think backpacks are quite powerful against this variant of the bugs, and just in general, it's powerful against the bugs as a whole. And the ones that are movement focused and crowd control focused or resource focused are going to be your best friends. So the supply pack, in my opinion, is the overall best backpack to bring in on this particular front, because you have to deal with the underground areas. In the underground areas, you have a harder time calling in resources. There are open spots, but there's some issues where they can get bugged and hit the ceiling, especially in the open areas. So with that in mind, you're not going to have as many resources to deal with. You're not going to be able to call in stratagems, not going to be able to call in sentries. So you're going to be really reliant on the tools in your inventory. So having the supply pack to be able to refund your ultimatum shots, refund your grenades, refund your ammo is going to be quite nice on every element of these encounters, whether you're inside, outside, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be very, very strong. Now, if you want to go with more of a movement option, we have plenty of options there. We have the warp pack, the hover pack, and the jump pack. All of these are going to be incredible options. I like the hover pack a lot right now because you can hover above the bugs, rain down fire hell all over the bugs and everything like that. It's quite nice. Gives you the advantage with things like the eruptor. It's going to be able to shoot down eruptor shots on enemies. So I like the hover pack quite a bit. The warp pack is obviously probably the best backpack in the game because it allows you to traverse the map in completely different ways. You avoid so many attacks, meaning you can dodge Bile Titan attacks very easily. You can dodge enemies very easily. Warp pack is very, very powerful as well. And jump pack is just good old reliable, right? I mean, if you love moving fast, the jump pack is going to be where it's at because you're going to be able to glide across the battlefield very quickly, get that big boost, go across the map. And all these options work very well in the cave systems. So you're going to be able to go underground and hover above the enemies. You'll be able to jump around with the jump pack. You're going to be able to move around with the warp pack very easily. So overall, these backpack movement options are very, very powerful. Then if you want to go full crowd control, you can run the gas dog. The gas dog is extremely good with the amount of bugs that we have on the map. Paired with the gas grenade or even the cookout blitzer combo, you're going to have an amazing time with crowd control. You're not going to have to deal with too many bugs hitting you in the face. Gas dog is very, very good on this particular bug variant. So for stratagem 2, this is going to be your stratagem weapons more specifically, and I think you should be focusing on anti-tank and clear with this particular section. You can run things like EAT, Commandos, and Quasar. I particularly like the Quasar a lot because of the fact that it doesn't require a call down or anything like that, and when you're in the cave systems, Having the Quasar is very nice because it just requires a 15-second cooldown, and you can deal with whatever anti-tank situations that may pop up, because Bile Titans could pop up in the caves. Chargers obviously could pop up in the caves. You have all these various units, and then having the Quasar on your back to be able to assist with anti-tank stuff is really, really nice. However, I do like the EATs and the Commandos quite a bit because they're just fast reactionary anti-tank tools. You can just pull out an EAT and it needs to be unfolded, but you can shoot it, kill a Bile Titan really quickly, shoot it, kill a Charger really quickly. The Commando can kill things in 2 shots. I quite like both of these stratagems as well. Now, if you want to go the clear route, I would say that the best options are going to be the laser cannon, the stalwart, the machine gun, and the flamethrower. They all offer unique things. Laser cannon is just great because it has unlimited ammo if you don't overheat it, sets enemies on fire, heavy penetration, really strong weapon on the bug front. Stalwart is also going to be great because it is light penetration, but it's by far the best light penetration weapon in the game, in my opinion. Has a huge ammo economy, great damage, will deal some serious damage with its fast RPM to all the bug variants. Is very, very good. The machine gun is going to be great because it is a little bit slower paced, but it does have medium penetration. So you're going to be able to go through a lot of those armors very, very easily. So I quite like the machine gun as well. And then lastly, the flamethrower is a no-brainer. If you want to bring in something like the hover pack, the flamethrower pairs very well with the hover pack. Or if in general you want to run the warp pack or something like that, it pairs very well with the warp pack as well. So for Stratagem 3, I really think that you should be choosing between a sentry or a mech. The reason why I say sentry is because the machine gun sentry, the Gatling sentry, and the rocket sentry are extremely good in the open areas. The open areas are very huge and they're very nice for being able to set up sentries. You set up sentries on whatever hills are around. They're going to do some serious work on breaches or whatever else is going on the map. So the machine gun and the Gatling sentry specifically are going to be great in the caves. Now, there's not a lot of opportunities for you to call them down in the caves, but when you do get to the opportunity to call them down, they can do some serious work for clearing for you. They're quite nice. But in the general open environment, they have medium penetration, so they're going to be able to go through any bug variant, which is quite nice. So I like setting this up on hills and letting it just shoot for me at various situations. It's great for the oil rig type mission because you can actually set this up and it will protect the oil rig. So it's quite nice overall. And another great thing about these sentries is in the open environments, they're going to help you take out shriekers. There's a huge amount of shriekers on the map at any given time, so these sentries are going to be absolutely goated for being able to take those out very quickly. Now, the rocket sentry is just great because, again, the vastness of the open areas allows the rocket sentry to operate at its peak potential. It can be great at taking out the flying Bile Titans. It's actually quite good because it can tank a full spit of a Bile Titan, a flying Bile Titan, and then it can still be taken out by the Bile Titan, which is quite nice. And then in general, because of its overall long distance range, it's going to be very good at hitting units from very, very far away. So I quite like all 3 of these sentries, no matter which one you want to choose. Now, if you don't want to go with the sentry, you can just bring in a mech here. The Emancipator mech suit is extremely good on the Hive World. Not only is it great for clearing in the cave area, which is what it's exceptional at, you can go in and clear whatever bug nests are in there, can help clear out whatever enemies are in there. The Emancipator is extremely good in the cave area. It's also very good in the outer areas on this particular bug front. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the Emancipator or the mech suits as a whole, but in terms of the way they operate with the particular Hive World variants, I love the Emancipator exosuit. It's quite good on this bug front. Now for Stratagem 4, you have a flex spot here. You can go a couple of different ways here. Now you can go with a mech or a sentry again. That's actually quite a good option. Or you can pick up a red stratagem or even another support stratagem, and I'll give you some options here. So again, depending on what you choose, I like to pair rocket sentry, machine gun sentry. That's one of my favorite combos. So for Stratagem 3, I'll bring in the machine gun, and then for Stratagem 4, I'll bring in the rocket sentry. Both of these are great because they can protect each other. The machine gun sentry could be shooting ballistic shots, and the rocket sentry could be shooting long distance shots or just taking out any anti-tank things as well. Or you can bring in one of the various sentries in the Emancipator exosuit as well, so you can get the best of all worlds, being able to use the exosuit, but also being able to use one of the sentries. If you do that, I seriously suggest that you bring in the machine gun sentry for the fast cooldown sentry, so that's quite nice. Now, something I've been running a lot has been the EAT with whatever clearing weapon I'm using. So if I'm using the stalwarts or the machine gun or something like that, I'll bring in the EATs a lot of times in this 4th stratagem slot, just because it's nice to have some quick on-demand AT when I need it, to deal with a Bile Titan, to deal with one of the flying Bile Titans, to deal with chargers or whatever situation is in front of me. And then also you can just bring in a portable hell bomb as well. That's a good option because there's plenty of situations between objectives on the spore lung thing or just anything that in terms of like a mega nest or stuff like that. There's tons of situations where a portable hell bomb will be quite useful. So whatever you decide, it's quite flexible for you. But personally, again, what I've been bringing in a lot has been the EAT here in this category along with a clear weapon. And then I've been running a lot of machine gun sentry, emancipator, rocket sentry type things. So I've been kind of mixing it up a bit. But all right, that's my full thoughts on how you should be constructing your loadouts for the Hive World. Let me know what you guys think about this video down in the comments below. Let me know what particular loadouts you've been running in, what combinations and things like that. I'm very curious to see what you've been running. I really hope you've been enjoying the Hive World update. It's been a ton of fun, but make sure you like and subscribe for more content similar to this. But anyways, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.